Podcast. I'm Shane, and with me is my boy Trey.
Yes, sir. We are back with another of the West Coast Podcast. Went a little bit on a hiatus, but we're back like we never left the building. Um, but we appreciate you guys for checking out the channel. I know Shane over on his YouTube channel has been putting in the work. He's been grinding, playing games and playing Gauntlet and all that kind of stuff. And got some exciting news about MCS. He did make the single eliminations, even though he was pretty down on himself. But he ended up finding out some different schemes. He went back into the lab and he figured it out like a G, like Shane Gayu 11 is. So, and it's a good reminder for those of you that not just with Madden, but you might be down about life. You can just look at the next guy and say, well, at least I'm not that guy. And you just have to go back into the lab and then adapt and, overcome at the end of the day because every day above ground is a good day. Just remember that. But nonetheless, we appreciate you guys for checking us out. We're going to, I believe, Shane, we talked about this. We were going to do a podcast next Friday. And then from that point, it'll be back on to the regular schedule. We're going to try to aim for 10:30 p.m. Pacific time, or unless Shane has any, time changes, then I'll try to accommodate the time changes for him. So we'll just kind of play it by ear. But as it stands right now, we're gonna try to get you one at least once every other 2 weeks. But we might go back to back because we went on a 2 week hiatus. Well, I guess it'd be 4 week hiatus, but so yeah. With all that being said, Shane, I understand that you were not feeling well the last week. Were you able to beat the cold, and how are you feeling currently at this very moment on a Friday evening?
I appreciate it, Trey. No, honestly, Trey, like what you said, that like it fits perfect, man. Like I was a little bit down about myself. Like, damn, like I'm not really confident like in this game because I'm a defensive player and it's very, very offensive oriented, and it makes it easier for almost everyone to play the game in a sense. Like, yes, the best players are still the best players, but I did go into practice mode and I did lab up practice plays and abilities that have really, really worked. AJ helped with that as well, so shout out to AJ on that. But no, like just like in life, like you said, man, sometimes you don't have the best days, right? Sometimes you just feel like crap or like damn, what am I gonna do? But you put one foot forward and then the next foot forward, and eventually you beat it. Like every day is not like amazing. Like don't let anybody trick you and say it is, but it's not always gonna stay crappy. It's not. And then you just like try to figure it out in life and try to be consistent and move on. But yeah, so we were supposed to go back. The podcast was supposed to happen last week and then be the 21st, which is next Friday. But I was sick. Trey handled it perfectly with me, so shout out to Trey. No, I just like the kids got sick, the wife was sick. I was running like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to fix the car, getting not that much of sleep, which I don't do sometimes anyways, just because that's just how life is. And I caught it at the end, and I just felt like terrible um, on last week, and it went through Friday and Saturday. I did the gauntlet for a little bit, but I was still suffering from like a migraine and just like feel like I got punched in the face. But no, Trey, to answer your question, yeah, man. Next Friday, yeah, I'm down 10:30 p.m. That will be our normal 10:30 p.m. November 21st will be our regular scheduled podcast time, and then after next Friday, you go back to 2 weeks, so we wouldn't be here on the last Friday of November. We would be back on, I think, December 5th. So, yes, Trey, to answer your question, November 21st, next Friday at 10:30 p.m., we will be back, you guys, for our normal time. normal date, and then we'll be back December 5th, and so on.
All right, so you heard it here first. We're gonna be coming back to you next week, 10:30 p.m. Otherwise posted. Shane will definitely keep you guys updated on the community tab, so make sure to have your post notifications on if and when things get changed and all that. So, but yeah, Shane, it's interesting. So you get back into the lab, you find out some new stuff. Now when you're in the process of finding this new stuff, is this kind of something that you found when you're just kind of, dicking around, kind of just in practice mode, and you're just like, oh crap, I found something? Or was it kind of something that you kind of, maybe you did research and you kind of seen someone else do it, or how did that all came together?
Trey, honestly, it was just like I need to find something out. If I stay on the same path that I was going on, I was not I was not going to make singles. No way, no how. I had to figure out something that would help me because like the whole everybody understands the whole meta is double or nothing on defense, and then on offense it's, you know, whatever, like human joystick, and then like I believe it's all day on the line. I think that's what people were running, and then the QB obviously the same meta. But nah, man, it was just like I need to figure this out. AJ and I brought the ideas up to AJ while we were about to do the ladders right before. He helped me out with like trying it with me to see what we thought. We went to one ability on the offense. It didn't work out exactly right, but we found out the second one. I said, hey, why don't we try blah blah? We tried it, and I've noticed a huge deal. One with the running back, and one with the wide receivers and other players if you wanted to use this ability, and nobody's been running it, Trey. Nobody. And honestly, bro, I've played tons of games. I did ladders. Nobody in ladders was doing it. So, and I haven't met anyone that's done it yet. So, if it leaks out, you know it came here first, bro, and I'm being very, very honest. Unless it's like some random person that's not, that doesn't do YouTube or Twitch or is in the MCS, but it's made a big deal, Trey, and like you have to adapt sometimes, man. Like it's easy to be in your comfort zone for sure. I love comfort zone, you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna lie, I like the comfort. I like the sometimes like the same thing doing stuff, but like you have to step out of your comfort zone. And when it came to this, Trey, it was me trying to find something that would elevate my game for this year's Madden.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I can attest to this because as someone that, plays Madden. I wouldn't say, up to your skill, but, I do play a lot of hours in Madden, and, you definitely get to the point where, like, you have a certain thing that you like to run, whether that be offensively, defensively, and it gets to the point where you're just like, okay, I gotta throw this play out, this scheme out, it's not working, and it's challenging because like your options are you're gonna have to like you're gonna have to go through the mud, right? Because like you're gonna have to find out schemes, and a lot of times when you try to figure out new plays to run or new schemes to run, it's not gonna work like the first 5 to 10 because you're not comfortable running it. So you really can't get a true test of how good your scheme is until you're like comfortable, exactly what adjustments that you want to make on the specific schemes that you are running. So I would also give you guys some free game on that is, if you're out there and you're trying out something new and it's not working, probably give it like, I don't know, like 2 to 3 weeks. At least give it to the point where you're like, okay, I know what to do. I know the adjustments that I need to make, and I know what I need to do with this play. And then from there, you can say, okay, I've done this, and I'm still getting beat, and it's been. Then at that point, yeah, change it up, but don't abandon things, right away. But it's hard for me, Shane, because I'm the kind of person where I don't want to lose, right? I don't think anyone likes to lose in Madden or in general, but so and the thing is like you're probably gonna take a fair share of L's when you're coming up with new schemes because you're not used to running the play, so you're not all the way comfortable with running the play, so you're gonna run into some snags. So is that something that is challenging for you when you're trying out some new stuff because you're probably gonna take your lumps at first as you work out the kinks of everything. Where
Definitely, Trey. I mean, everyone, for the most part, when you do stuff, you want to win, right? And it's been a little tough because like in the gauntlet, I'm trying 100% to win the game. Tournament, same thing. Even the head-to-head ranked, I was trying to win every game in the sense of like running my plays and stuff. But like this time, I've been trying different stuff, different abilities, different play calls, just to see what I could do to get going on it, right? Like, what can I do? And like, I've kind of had a worse record this season, the last 30 days on head-to-head rank, but more. I'm still trying to win, but I'm trying to run different plays with different abilities, and then sometimes like I get annoyed and I go back to my old plays, which help me, and it's like you have to work out things, and I'm not really worried about getting the top player in head-to-head ranked because to be honest, when head-to-head rank comes out and by the time the season ends, there's going to be players better than them. The gauntlet matters, Trey, because if you get 10 wins, you can sell that card or keep it. But if you sell that card, you can do it for between 6 million and 10 million for like just factually. That's what they've been going on for a lot because they're super OP to get it right on the gauntlet. The gauntlet means much more than the head to head. But yes, Trey, I do get stuck in that where I'm like, oh hell no. Like here we go. Here we are. And like funny story, I'm gonna go like real quick if I can, Trey, like just to talk about something. Couple things are like Trey's known me for a while and he knows that like in the past I would get on the headset and if people started trash talking, I'd be trash talking with them, and it really never. And Trey can vouch for this. It never really affected me in the sense of it got me off the game, right? It got me where I was struggling and it just melted me down. No, actually, like even if I get pissed off or even if I get worked up and I'm calling them talking crap, right? I'm still playing my game and sometimes it makes me better, but like I've noticed for the most part through money games, through ladders this year in MCS tournaments, it it makes a lot of them just crumble and collapse. I had a game in ladders on this previous and zero chill, this one that I'm in right now, and the guy was beat me, and he paused the game. He had paused it twice, and I was trying to actually make sure that he was okay, honestly, because I don't want to, I'm not trying to start anything on MCS, and he just was like right away, like, shut up, you F and B word, yada yada yada, started running his mouth. And it went there. He said some wild stuff, and he was actually up, I believe, 14-6 or whatever, and it ended up being 33-21. Like I beat him. He completely melted down. He said some funny stuff where like he was so mad that he was telling me like I have no life. And this is gonna get a little R-rated, Trey. So I don't know if I told you this, but it's gonna get a little R-rated. He told me, hey, oh wait, no, this wasn't the same guy. I apologize. Actually, this story that I'm telling you right now was, I believe, Gauntlet. What really happened is he was still up, and I got on to check, so it wasn't this part. The part where I got on to check to see if he is okay on the microphone. So I screwed up the story. I'm gonna restart it. The Gauntlet story with this guy, where it got kind of R-rated, is his microphone was going on and on and on and on, and he did pause it, and I checked to see if he was okay, and he started talking crap to me right away. So I started talking crap back, but he was up 14-6 or whatever. Um, I got on the mic, started talking trash with him. He got pissed off, completely crumbled. But the funny part of the story, where like I still think about it to this day, and it cracks me up, is because how wild he was, Trey. So he's like, I bet you have no life, Shane got you. I bet you have no life, Shane got you. I bet you don't even have a girl. I bet you're a virgin. And I'm like, yeah, all right, bro. All right, bro. And he's like, it was on Halloween. So it was on Halloween. So maybe I did tell this story, man. I don't know. Either way, I'm telling it again, Trey. I'm rambling on. Just nod your head over there. And he told me basically, bro, like, I'm gonna go to a party tonight, bro. I'm gonna go to a party tonight and I'm gonna see girls. So tonight, and he was probably in his mid 20s, he's like, tonight, and I'm gonna keep it PG-13 instead of what he fully said. He said, when you're pleasuring yourself tonight, Shane, I want you to think of me. And I'm like, why would you say that to me, bro? That is so weird to say. And then he called me a slur right after. It was funny as hell. Nah, but now moving on to a serious subject. In the tournament, the guy didn't come to the game right away. He like made me wait, and then his microphone was going on and on. Then he paused it twice, and he was beating me. So I actually paused the game to get on the microphone to set up my microphone to check to see if he was okay, Trey, because I didn't want him. I was actually being honestly nice here because I didn't think of anything like getting in trouble on the microphone or anything because I didn't want to get in trouble on, for MCS. You can really get banned from there. And I'm like, yo, man, everything okay? What's up, Rose? How you doing? I'm just rambling right now. Trey's allowing me to ramble. I hope your night's going good, Rose. And he's like, yo, don't get on here, blah blah blah, you punk, blah blah blah. And I'm like, yo, dude, chill out. I was just seeing if you're okay. And he's like, yeah, okay, whatever, Mayo. And I'm like, Mayo? And he's like, yeah, I can hear the white in your voice. And I'm like, whoa, bro. I'm like, calm down, bro. I was seeing if you're okay. Then he called me some other slurs about being white, which is whatever. It doesn't affect me. I played sports, right? I played sports. Didn't affect me. Then he said I was like gonna be like, I bet I'm gonna be the next Columbine person, which if you're old enough, you know what happened at Columbine. And he was just like really inappropriate, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, tough guy, okay, tough guy. And he's like, I'll if I saw you, I'd SHOO. Well, I don't know why I'm spelling it. My kid's not here. I'd shoot you. I'd shoot you if I saw you. And I'm like, you can try. You can show up to my house, tough guy. Well, he was beating me. Well, while we're talking that, I pick him off. I go score and I take the lead. He goes quiet, bro. And I'm like, nah, don't go quiet now. Don't go quiet now. Don't be a front runner. Don't be quiet now. And then I just laid into him, just let him have it by calling him a front runner, and he's soft and he's weak hearted. But it was just a little bit like it was a little bit wild. Like he went like hella like just telling me like all about my flaws and that I was gonna be a Columbine shooter, and it was wild, Trey. Anyway, sorry for rambling on, but I just had to get that out. It was wild, bro.
Yeah, no, it's definitely wild. I mean, it's and it's insane too. I mean, you talk about that one guy. He's like, think of me when you're pleasuring yourself at night. It's like, who the hell says something like that? Like that doesn't even sound right. That just sounds like weird. So I mean, it's kind of whatever. But and the thing about it is like. People have been talking trash on Mike, and they can call you every slur. They can call you every, racial slur, homophobic slur in the book when you're in the actual game, but if you send them a message and it's even remote and it even has like anything remotely like having to do with anything, then you're gonna get suspended. Like that's happened to me. Like someone got on the mic and was talking everything else, and then I sent him a message like GG's or whatever. And then he just reported me. It's like you're just talking all that good stuff in the chat, and then because you lost, you're salty. You wanna then all of a sudden it's not about free speech. You wanna like try to get me suspended because you lost in a video game. It's just unbelievably corny to me. So, But yeah, when a good word of advice is that when you play against Shane Got You 11, don't trash talk him because he is built for it. I've seen multiple games at this point, and I can't lie, it is entertaining. Like when I'm hearing him trash talk, I know that it tends to get a little bit toxic. At times it could get pretty risque, I would say. But it definitely, like Shane said about that one guy, he was talking all that good stuff and he was winning. And who knows, maybe if he would have never got on the mic, then he probably would have kept winning. But then, he got on the mic and then Shane was able to get into his head, essentially. And then he starts making mistakes. And then now all of a sudden, he's crapping down his leg. But yeah, Shane, that is definitely pretty intense. I have to ask you because you're not someone that really came from video games per se. I know you played sports, so I mean the concept of talking trash and all that, it's not a new concept for you. But when you got into video games, were you kind of taken back a little bit at the fact that these people are trash talking over video games, or did it really like surprise you that much that people were talking all this crap on video games and all that?
Honestly, okay, I'm gonna break it down a little bit. Rose, good work on your win for sure. I'm proud of you. We're proud of you handling your business against a PA booter spammer. And yeah, that guy had to be around zero females, but like that was still the funniest thing ever when he's like, "When you're thinking about me tonight," like, what the hell? And Trey, you're absolutely right. I got a warning like 2 weeks ago, which is my second warning. First warning, okay, kinda like I didn't really do anything, but second warning, this guy was trash talking me, and all I said was whatever GG, and he reported me for saying whatever GG, and they gave me a warning. So I would suggest to everyone on PS5, I don't know how Xbox works if they're better at it, but do not reply to people unless you guys are being really, really friendly where like nothing's happening. Don't write people on PS5. But to answer your question, Trey, like sports really made me who I was in the sense of like trash talking, keeping it in between the lines of the game. Like you can trash talk me all you want. The only times that I like got like physical, like if I'm playing basketball, like in real life, and is when they would cross the line, right, and call me like the B word or like say like they're gonna do something to me. And even then, like I'd be like, "You need to calm down. You need to calm down." And then like I'd run through the screen and just smoke them out on the screen. And then you know, I give people slight warnings. Like I'm much better now, obviously. Like I don't want to do that, bro. But like I just like it. It is what it is. And to answer your question, Trey, like I took it as like I was more realistic. So, and what I mean by that when I say I was more realistic is like when I first got on like the internet, I guess, for video gaming, like Madden to become like a pro or be competitive, whatever you want to say, competitive pro, a money player. I took everything realistic. Like, if they said that they would pay me, I believe they would pay me. If they said they're gonna like show up to my house, I'd be like, all right, show up to my house because I didn't like honestly, I was a little older on that side. And I'm being honest, like I was in my late 20s, early 30s. Like I had a good home life, but like I hung out with certain people that I'm not gonna like say, but like, and I did stuff with certain people, and it's just like if you threaten somebody in real life, like you gotta be ready, right? If I threaten Trey to come beat you up and I know where you live because you were running your mouth or vice versa, you gotta worry about it. So probably for the first few years I got tricked more so with people online by thinking they were cool. and like, or if they threaten me, it happened. But like as the years went on, like now I got used to people being shady or scammy or making threats or trolling. But yeah, I guess to answer your question, when I first popped on Trey, I took everything at face value and I thought what they said was what they really felt and didn't think that they were trolling, which I guess is probably my age, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, the concept of trolling is definitely, I feel like that's something that's kind of, I mean, if you're like from a certain generation, I don't feel like, I mean, I'm sure like when you were growing up, I mean, the concept was probably around. I mean, you probably, like you probably knew somebody, whether it be family members or someone at school that you're just kind of egging them on because you thought it was funny. Like you try to, say something to them to get a reaction out of them because it's funny. But I mean, but that's real life. That when you cross that over to online, you don't really know unless you kind of spend more time and you're like, okay, this guy's not really serious. He's not gonna come to my house. He's not gonna do this. So I mean, it's just one of those things that just takes time to adjust and all that. But I mean, it's crazy too because going back to the whole warning thing. The second time I got a warning is because I sent a message. I don't even remember what I said. I said, I think I called him a bum or something like that. But the first time, I remember this vividly. I played a guy. I didn't say nothing to him. He didn't say anything to me, but I played him, and then he sends me a message out of the blue saying, "I reported you." And I'm like, okay, I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, whatever. Wake up the next morning, and then I get reported because my original PSN was Trey is Raw AF. And I could have said that means Trey is Raw Air Force. Shout out to Veterans Day on that, it has AF. It didn't even insinuate anything, and then they come to me saying, "Oh, I have to change my username and all this stuff," and it's just crazy. But yeah, speaking of Veterans Day, we're a little bit late. This happened last week on Tuesday, so shout out to all the veterans out there. Um, But Shane, for a topic that is on veterans, like, are you a big fan of military movies and TV shows? And if so, which one? And this will be a comment for anyone that's in the chat, anyone that's gonna, pop in. I don't know if Rose has a favorite, if that's a genre that she fancies, but I would say for me, Full Metal Jacket's always a classic, but I think Jarhead with Jamie Foxx is always a good movie. I could watch that. That's probably in my top five movies of all time is Jarhead. So, what about you, Shane? Do you have any?
You know, real quick to go back to that one thing that we are talking about. I think the difference is in real life, if you trash talk too much, you'd get punched in your face, and I think that's what usually would teach kids, teenagers, like there is real consequences, right? Just like my mom always told me, hey, don't come to me when we're teenagers if you run your mouth to an adult and they slap you up. Now, if they attack you or like they're trying to bully you and you stick up for yourself and they beat you up, yeah, okay, come get dad. Dad will handle business. My dad was a little different. I'm not gonna lie. He would tell us not to do that to adults, but if we did trash talk an adult and they slapped us up, he'd handle business. My dad, like I said, my dad was real tough. Like, didn't have the best home life growing up, and he just kind of like was street tough. I'll say that. Military movies, man. Like I'm not a huge fan of like war movies and military movies. I can't remember the one movie. I think it's Lone Survivor. I think that was a military movie. Top Gun was really good. Top Gun 1 and Top Gun 2. Those were probably my favorites. Saving Private Ryan was pretty good as well though, Trey. But yeah, just those ones.
Yeah, no doubt. Those are all those are all good ones, and you say you're not into military movies, and if like I don't know if you probably don't have free time to check out movies these days, but I would say a good one for you to check out is Platoon. It came out in the Vietnam. It had Charlie Sheen. I think that might have been like Charlie Sheen's like first breakout performance, but he did really good in that movie. And also Jarhead, the other one that I mentioned. Those are two ones that you definitely need to check out if you're ever up for it. But another holiday that is coming up is Thanksgiving, which is obviously a good season. The holidays are upon us. I'm not looking forward to hearing Christmas music everywhere I go, but I do like the holiday season as a whole. The whole family, friends, everyone seems to be in a pretty chill mood unless you go shopping on Black Friday and then all bets are off. So, Shane, like, do you have any plans on Thanksgiving this weekend as it stands right now? Are you just kind of playing it by ear at this point?
Okay. Um, do we want to wait for the Thanksgiving podcast next Friday to get into all this, or do you want me to just answer? I don't care either way.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Like, we'll probably have some other topics as the Thanksgiving podcast comes. But I guess just as it stands right now, like, do you have any plans or do you have any are there any traditions at the household that you are in, or not really?
We definitely go to my parents' house, Trey. My wife and kids, we go to my parents' house. We used to go to the in-laws too, but we haven't in a few years. Christmas is way busier. Christmas is just taxing. Like, obviously, it's way more money spent, but then you go to the in-laws, then you got my parents, and you switch it up. So, like this year for Christmas Eve, it'll be my parents' house, and we Christmas Day morning will be for my my house that I like my kids and my wife. Then in the afternoon, you go to the in-laws, and then on the 26th is my sister-in-law's birthday that we go to. So like, and then also you got New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. I really enjoy Thanksgiving because it's not about like money and presents. Like I enjoy, don't get it twisted, I enjoy giving presents out more than receiving. And I'm being honest when I say that. I love giving gifts and seeing people open it, but like it feels like it's all about like gifts more so than like Thanksgiving, dude. Like I said, I love food. So like I've been working out still and walking a lot and trying to eat good and stuff like that. But like when Thanksgiving comes, like the diet takes a back seat, bro. Because I'm gonna house that food, bro. I'm gonna handle that. You know what I mean? Like I love turkey. I'll say that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting because I remember when I was growing up, I used to be all about the ham. I would prefer a ham more than turkey, but then as I got older, I realized that turkey is definitely better than ham. Like, I mean, ham is still good, but even if it's like making a sandwich, well, if it comes to that, I like bologna. Like bologna is probably my favorite meat. Pause, but I definitely prefer turkey to ham. Like ham is like when it's all sweet, like when I eat foods, right? Like whether it be pickles, for example, you have the dill pickles, which I'm used to eating, but then my parents are into like the bread and butter pickles, and it's like this doesn't taste right. like this is I'm used to pickles tasting a certain way, and now all of a sudden they're sweet. Now it's like what the hell? So that's kind of my philosophy on Thanksgiving as it stands right now. So but yeah, it's definitely gonna be a good holiday, and you're gonna go over to your parents' house. You're gonna eat some good food and all that. So we talked about food a little bit. I know you're not a cheesecake guy. That's my favorite dessert. But when it comes to dessert, Shane, what do you like? Are you ice cream kind of guy? I kind of fancy you more as like ice cream. I'm gonna say you're a mint ice cream kind of guy. That's the kind of vibe I get from you.
Okay, so I honestly, Trey, I'm not a huge dessert person. But if you got like chocolate brownies or chocolate chip cookies or peanut butter cookies, sign me up. I definitely like ice cream, bro. Like I don't, it's like I'm just not a huge sweet person. But ice cream, I'll eat mint for sure. So you're dead on that. I love strawberry ice cream as well. Another good one that is only sold at Baskin Robbins. That's my like goat ice cream right now, like greatest of all time. Is it's Passion. It's called Passion or something. Maybe I'm saying it wrong because they don't have it always in stock. It's only once in a while, and it's probably the best ice cream I've ever had. I mean, right now, honestly, bro, you're just making me hungry. I'm hungry as hell now. Rose is over here talking about her just handling business in Madden, which, like, I salute you, Rose. Like, I love hearing it, so keep it coming. Um, and then Trey's got me over here thinking about, like, man, I want to get turkey. I want to put brown gravy on the turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean. Like, come on, green bean casserole. And it's just like that's all I'm thinking about right now, Trey. Rose said she gets called trash or bum, and they be saying weird things. People say the weirdest thing, Rose. Like people are wild as hell. Like I'm gonna be honest. Like it's just like I don't know. They didn't get punched enough in the face growing up. Oh, snap! Rose said that she got into it with another female, and they say the same crap. Don't got no female B word, etc. Yeah, that's wild, Rose. That's crazy as hell. But yeah, Trey, I can't wait for Turkey Day, bro. That's all. You got me excited, bro.
All right, I got Shane fired up for that. That's the idea that I like to do. I like to be the hype man. I'm the hype man in this operation. But with that being said, you know, it's kind of funny, Shane. You were talking about and this is we're kind of going off topic here, but you're saying, you know, some people didn't get punched in the face, and like, I mess around on Reddit sometimes, and I made a post something, and I was saying something about how, you know, when Bill Belichick hired Matt Patricia and Joe Judge, it was like nepotism because you know, like they knew him, so it was kind of, you know, whatever. It was kind of biased in that regard, which all NFL coaches is, but that's besides the point. But you know, someone commented down below, and he was like, "Well, technically, it wouldn't be nepotism because Matt Patricia and Joe Judge aren't related to Bill." And I read that, so he said it would be like crowism, I guess, is what it is if you're like related to somebody. And I responded, I was like, so how many swirlies did you get in high school? Like, seriously, like, you're going to correct my grammar over something that technical, and it's like, and I just thought that was funny when you were saying that. But Shane, what is your thought, moving on amicably from that? Like, Shane, what is your thoughts on the trade deadline? I know the Seattle Seahawks got the Shaheed from the New Orleans Saints. They got that, but I think the big trade that everyone is talking about, the New York Jets. The New York Jets have traded Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts, and the Jets got in States two first round draft picks in 2026 and 2027, and receiver Adonai Mitchell from the Colts. So Shane, when you look at that trade, what do you think? Do you think the Jets came on top of that, or do you think they kind of traded Sauce a little bit prematurely on that?
Let me get into let me answer that in one sec. Oh, Rose, okay, you said you're married to another girl, and they'll be like, you don't get no girls even though you're a girl. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, my bad, I read it wrong. No, 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 yeah, yeah, they're true. Like dudes are stupid as hell. Like they're dumb as hell. Like they'll either say you're broke, get a girl, you don't got a job, I could beat you up, but then they're probably like have never been in a fight in real life. And Trey, yeah, like correcting your grammar is weird as hell. But I feel like this is sorry for Matt since Mr. Matt loves the Jets. I just feel like they thought Justin Fields was going to be better like than he really was. Like Justin Fields is not a good QB. He's just not. And I think they realized that, and I think they wanted to get something out of Sauce Gardner and try to be good in the next year or so. Like, I know, don't hate me on this, Trey, but like New England's handling business, so congrats to your team. Um, I just didn't know that they had the second weakest schedule in the NFL, which you play who you play, right? But I didn't know that they had the second weakest schedule. But you play who you play, and you win if your games, no matter who you play. So I'm going to ask you this question. Ready, Trey? Do you feel confident in New England's record being what it really is, or do you think that they just haven't played anyone where you gauge on them?
Yeah, so to answer your question on this, Shane, I think that this is one of these cases where two things can be true, right? So you can look at the question objectively and say, yeah, their schedule's a little bit weak. Okay, that's fine. But if you really take a step back and you look at this New England Patriots team, back to back 4-win seasons, so they've won 8 games in the last 2 years, and now they're on top of the AFC. I think right now, as it stands, we have like the most percentage to get the number one seed. So I would ask you that question. When you take into consideration the fact that we've only won 8 games in the last 2 years, like, does it really matter how weak the schedule is? Like, could you see a team like, isn't that kind of unbelievable that a team could go from 8 wins to number one seed in that short span of a time? Like, no matter how weak the schedule is.
Um, so real quick, Rose did say it made sense for the Jets. They've been the same old, same old. Aaron Glenn is going to get canned. They're blowing it all up. Get a first round pick for a new coach. Hire someone young, offensive minded. They'll have their pick of a QB because they won't have to pay anyone with Fields' big deal in the draft. Want to start over? I agree with you, Rose. Now, Trey, no, I mean, New England's doing what New England is supposed to do. You guys struggled for a couple years. You rebuilt the team. You hired Vrabel, which is a very good coach, and you guys are doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm just saying, like, you should be proud. Like, I feel like Indianapolis Colts are paper tigers, and I think it's gonna all blow up in their face sooner than later. And I kind of feel like it is, even though I feel like Daniel Jones showed that he's a much better QB than how he looked in with the Giants. Pros of the Jets are the water boy meme. Oh no, we suck again. Yeah, basically. Um, I was just wondering because you watch New England all the time. Like they look to me, they look pretty darn good. Um, it'll be interesting to see how they handle business. And hey, man, maybe they're back in the championship this year playing the Seahawks. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it is really cool to see them, bounce back.
Yeah, no, it's definitely looking good. I mean, this season could end tomorrow, and I would be satisfied. Given the last 2 seasons, of course, I'm still going to be upset when the wheels fall off. Which hopefully it hasn't fall off. I mean, we've won 9 in a row, I think it is. But I mean, if you look at the 2 losses, we lost to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is Pittsburgh. I feel like Pittsburgh hasn't changed for like ever since I started watching football. They're just, don't get me wrong, I'm a big Mike Tomlin guy, but it's like I look at the Steelers and they've just always been the same to me. Like no matter what. And then on top of that, we lost to the Raiders, and the Raiders are also the Raiders. So I mean, I don't understand what happened there. I mean, I get everyone has bad games, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see on that. But I mean, and I was watching the Thursday night game, and Kirk Herbstreit was doing a breakdown, and he said that yeah, the Jets, they've acquired all these picks and everything, but you look towards the draft, and as it stands right now, of course, things could change, but I guess there's not even really like a quarterback that's in this upcoming draft pool that is like a consensus number one, like a franchise QB. But I think that could also be kind of a benefit because if you can use those picks and say you hit say you hit on like the first two picks at the other positions, and then you get like a stopgap quarterback, your Jacoby Brissett's or like the Mitch Trubisky's and stuff like that, and you play that for a year, and then you have like other draft picks. Shane, do you think that the Jets are in a good position if they're able to hit on these next two picks, and then they build some talent around the team that you can just kind of parachute a quarterback into that team? But of course it's the Jets, and sorry Matt if you're watching this, but they always find a way to mess things up. I feel like.
Yeah, like Rose said, Vrabel was the perfect hire for you guys. I mean, she's absolutely right. Much better than Mayo. I agree. Like fully, Vrabel was an excellent coach to get for your Patriots. With the Jets, I don't know. Like, they're just like the bad news bear type of team, right? Like, who knows? Justin Fields is definitely not the answer. I mean, he's just definitely not the answer. Like, he's not. I'm sorry. I know. I think it was last year he was with Pittsburgh, and Russ was still kind of on his last legs, but decent enough. And people were like, Fields would be so much better. No, Russ is a better player than Justin Fields on his last legs, and even Justin Fields in his prime. They would have to get a really good QB. I don't even, like I can't even blame the head coach so much as like they're just so bad franchise lately. Rose said they definitely could get Houston turnaround where they grab Stroud and Will Anderson back to back. But yeah, they she said they always F it up and hire the wrong person anyways. I don't know, some teams just have that like weird like curse feeling on them. Like that's how I felt with the Seattle Mariners in baseball. Like they always find a way to lose. They always find a way to not make the playoffs. They always find a way to like so like for the Jets, I kind of feel the same way, and I'm sure Matt, if he hears plays this back, or if he hears about it, or you talk to him about it, he will agree. Like the Jets always find a way to kind of screw it up. I mean, their best times were with Mark Sanchez in that little time period where they battled the Patriots, and unfortunately Tom Brady was there. Except like I think they beat Tom Brady like once, I think, when it was in the Jet Stadium in the playoffs. But Jets just I don't know, they're just not a good franchise. So I don't know. To answer your question, Trey, I don't know. With them, like they possibly could screw it up. I know the Seahawks are playing the Rams at the Rams for first place, and that's going to be a hell of a game. Can't wait for that. Rose said to ask you if you saw the social media post about the fans where they're commenting about Drake May's fiance post. Apparently, she posts cooking videos, and fans were commenting on her video. Did you see that at all, Trey?
Nah, I didn't see that, and I'm actually kind of surprised that I didn't see it. So I mean, what are they saying? Are they saying that Beyonce has cooking videos, and I guess Drake May like he commented on it, or like what are they saying?
I don't know. I will definitely tell you when she responds.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely let us know what the controversy is on that. And luckily there hasn't been a whole lot of controversy with this team, and it's kind of interesting, right? Because like you hear of like the major controversies that goes down in the NFL, right? Like the last year I think it was the Tyreek Hill incident that was kind of the mainstream, but I think every other team, like if you follow the team, every other team kind of has like their drama moments. And like for us so far, it's been pretty mediocre. I mean, obviously, the Stephon Diggs and Cardi B relationship, but Stephon Diggs has been playing his role. He's been doing pretty good. I'd even go as far as to say he's been a leader on the team so far. So I'm happy that we got him, and I'm happy with Drake May so far. But Shane, like, and this is going to be a perfect question for you because, like, the other MVP candidate that's been kind of catching a lot of fire, he plays in your division. is Matthew Stafford. Now, when you look at Matt Stafford as a Seattle Seahawks fan because you play him twice a year, do you look at this guy and do you think he's having a good year and that it's a possibility that he could be in the running for the MVP? Or do you think that Drake May is on an MVP trajectory? Like, if you had to call it right now, who do you think wins the MVP?
Rose said no. May's fiance, like who he's engaged with, not Beyonce. They're saying kind of weird but funny stuff, saying make sure he eats his veggies, cook his meat correctly, and make sure he drinks lots of water. And she just wanted to see if um you saw that. And one dude commented, "Give Drake a big hug and kiss from him," from their biggest fan. And then also, I think Stafford's doing really good. Like it'll be interesting. Like May's having a good, solid year. It'll be interesting if they pick. I do think that if Stafford cooks Seattle this weekend, he will be ahead of May because Seahawks are a really good defense, and I think they would throw out the stats like the Seahawks are, strength of schedule and the defense is rated here and the rated here. I do think the Seahawks will turn Stafford over a couple times in LA Sunday. It'll be if Darnold can take control of the ball. That's where I'm at. And then also, I don't. Did you see what any of the comments about Drake May's fiance?
Nah, I didn't see any comments, so I'll definitely, because that all sounds interesting, so I'll definitely look into it and, kind of see what the problem is on that one. I do like Beyonce though, so I mean, if they could get along, then I mean it. But but yeah, Matthew Stafford, I think is gonna get a run now. I mean, the Patriots fans, they look at Matthew Stafford and they're like, oh well, shoot, he has Puka Nakua. And Devonte Adams, I feel like I don't know how you feel, Shane, but I feel like Devonte Adams like might as well not even be there. Like I still don't understand how this guy went from like three teams in a matter of 3 years. So I mean, and I think Puka Nakua, like he's obviously like a elite like number one receiver, but I feel like he's kind of hurt. Like he's been kind of off and on dealing with injuries. So I mean, does that hold any weight to you? Like when you look at this Rams team, and obviously Sean McVay's a good offensive mind, do you think that when people give the criticism like, well, look at the weapons that Stafford has, do you think he has good weapons? Like, and it kind of blows Drake May out of the water from what he's kind of working with.
I mean, definitely, Trey. I'm gonna answer what Rose said. She said they pulled what fans were doing on Mike Evans' engagement post on Instagram. Evan and his girlfriend were engaged, and it was fun. Fans commenting about fantasy posts on IG posts. Yeah, fans are wild. Though Rose, fans will do everything. Fans will threaten over like money that they bet on them, yada yada. So nothing shocks me on that. Of course, Trey, if you have weapons compared to another person, it definitely, should weigh in on the MVP race or just life in general. Like, if I have $50 million and I turn it into $100 million, and my dad knows how to run the stock market, you get $50,000 from your dad, Trey, and you turn it into 2 million, but you don't have a dad that knows the stock market, which is more impressive in life. I made more money, but you're still more impressive. So I see where you're getting at. But yeah, Stafford has good weapons.
All right, so speaking of Stafford, it's gonna be a big game Sunday. Like I'm pretty sure you're gonna be tuned in. It is the 1 o'clock window. By the way, like if you live in the West Coast, and you're watching, I feel like the West Coast is like the greatest like sport viewing like time zone of all time. By the way, and, like you can have your different opinion, but to me, I think it's the best. But it is the 1 o'clock game, prime time. Well, I don't know if it's prime time, but it's kind of in that slot. The 7-2 Rams against the 7-2 Seahawks. both teams are like jockeying for position. This might be the game that decides. Well, it is going to be the game that decides who's going to be number one in the NFC West, which is kind of a tough division. I know San Francisco they lost 2 games, so they're 6-4 right now. The Arizona Cardinals. Oh well, shout out to my guy Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett looked good, and the one game he played really good. And Mac, I don't understand how they have Mac Jones out there throwing 40 times a game. He did pretty good though. I mean, he threw like 40 times and he had like 300 yards and like 3 touchdowns and all that stuff. So he did pretty good, but that's like a ridiculous amount of volume. It's like, what are we doing throwing that many times a game? But Shane, what is your predictions on this game? Are you pumped up? Are you excited for it? What is the injury reports? Are you guys healthy going into this one? And what is your prediction going into this game?
Rose said every Ram that or every player that becomes part of the Rams talks about retirement. That's funny. So we are going to be without Horton, which is the wide receiver rookie who was doing really good, which sucks. But honestly, I am really excited. I mean, it's a huge game. I mean, it's halfway through the year. There's still time to make up. I'm going to go 27-24 to the Seahawks. I say Stafford will end with 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Darnold will be 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. And we will win on a game-winning field goal at the end. That is my prediction.
All right, that is the prediction. You heard it. You heard it here first. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I feel like in the AFC side of things, it could be anyone's here. I think that for the NFC, I still think Philadelphia is going to be the team to be. I know that there's a lot of good teams that are in the NFC, like the Seahawks and the Rams being one of them. And, like Baker kind of took a backslide, but I think the Buccaneers can also make some noise. But the AFC is kind of wide open. I don't think no one expected the Colts to be as good as they are. The Chiefs are kind of looking good, and like Lamar's just kind of climbing back into the race. And that's gonna be interesting, Shane. Like, I know you're not really that sold on Lamar Jackson. You don't think he, you're not hating on him, but you don't think, he's gonna be necessarily the guy that's gonna win you a Super Bowl. But but when Lamar Jackson, if and when he leads the comeback, and he gets into the playoffs, like, would you look at that and say, like, okay, Lamar's kind of doing his thing, or would you still need to win more playoff games for you to be like on board with them?
Man, honestly, bro, like it sounds like I'm a Lamar hater. I just haven't been extremely impressed with him in the playoffs. I feel like for me to like just be like, okay, he's that dude. He has to make it to the Super Bowl, right or wrong. Even if he loses the Super Bowl, I'll completely be like, okay, he made it Super Bowl. He's that dude because he's had a good enough team. Like I'm not talking about like you got a great QB on a trash team. I don't hold that, but Baltimore has a good team. They usually had a good defense, a great defense. So there's no really excuses to be fair. Like he makes to the Super Bowl, loses, I'll be like, okay, he's coming to his own. He's a he's that guy. Right now I'm just like I have to see more in the playoffs. It's kind of like how Peyton Manning effect, right? About like how his struggles in the playoffs. Rose said 49ers pass so much because Shanahan is more finesse. He isn't physical. That's not the 49ers identity. They want to out scheme you, outspeed you, not like Vrabel or Harbaugh, or more hard nosed, control the clock, run the ball over. I am not. I mean, San Fran. I will be interested to see if they keep it up. Um, they have had the easiest schedule in the NFL, but like Trey and I were just talking about, you have to win the games in front of you, so it is what it is. I do think that I think the NFC West is the hardest division. I will say that, and I'll stick by it. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the NFC West pans out. it definitely your Patriots, Trey. They're handling business, and it'll be fun to see your team in the playoffs, bro. I bet you're gonna be pumped. They're gonna make the playoffs. I'm saying that right now. So I bet you're pretty pumped on that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely excited. I mean, like no matter what happens at this point, we can lose every other game from here on out. We're still gonna have a winning season. You know, hopefully we don't lose every other games, but I think yeah, we're gonna make a playoffs and you know, it's been like 2021 and we got blew out by the Bills. That was the last playoff game that I've seen. So you're talking about a good 4 years. And we're talking about the Jets. Like, and I was thinking about this. Like, what was the last time the Jets have made it to the playoffs? Because it has to be like the Mark Sanchez year where they beat the Patriots, and that was like back in like 2009 or something.
It
So it's
was
like kind of crazy, but
2010.
yeah, I'm definitely pumped up and yeah, 2010. That was the Mark Sanchez year. What was the last time Seattle made the playoffs? It was pretty recently, right?
Yeah, I think it was a couple years ago. Honestly, I think it was let's see. I think it was 20 yeah, it was 2022. They lost to the San Fran 49ers in the wild card where they got pounded. Yeah, bro, here I'm going to say something. See, and this is like I'm glad I double checked stats. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, 13 total touchdowns, 11 turnovers. That's your superstar QB. Nah, you can get criticism. He's gone 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, 1-1, 2-0, and 2-1. He's definitely. I will say this: in the last 2 years, though, Trey, he's done much better with 4 touchdowns, 1 pick, and 2 fumbles. But see, that's still the fumbles where he like you can't have 1-to-1 if you're a superstar, right? Well, I looked up the stats like a few years back, and it's something like your touchdown to turnover percentage changes a lot in the playoffs, which is like very captain obvious because you're playing much better teams. But 1-to-1 still wouldn't cut it, if you know what I
Yeah, no doubt. And what about another AFC North quarterback, right? Like, kind of what is your whole take on Joe Burrow? Like, do you think he's gonna be able to overcome his injury proneness? Or do you think it's kind of getting into like tricky waters to where he's gonna be labeled as like the injury prone guy and his career's gonna take kind of a hit going forward? Or do you think Joe Burrow can bounce back and have a good back end of his career?
I think Joe Burrow will have a good career. I think next year will show a lot. If he gets hurt again and misses a year, I think he's like, yeah. Then you can be like, yeah, he's just injury prone. But I don't know, man. Like, I know people love him and get hyped about him, which is cool. And he made the Super Bowl, which is really cool. But like, he's kind of like a lot of people are kind of just like moving on past him, and honestly, it's because of the injuries and all that stuff. The team that like I never will write off, and it's this is Captain Obvious statement coming. Trey is KC. Like they look dead in the water for a while, and now they're kind of like regrouping. Who like from an early standpoint, who do you have in the Super Bowl from the AFC, and who do you have in the Super Bowl from the NFC? Just we'll change our opinions down the road, but just for fun, who do you have?
Shane, I think it's going to be history. And I think this is going to be a Super Bowl matchup that no one's going to see coming. And I think it's going to be a good one, and it's going to be between two teams that I don't think anyone really cares about. But I'm going to go on record and I'm going to say the Super Bowl matchup is going to be the LA Bowl. It is going to be the Los Angeles Chargers against the Los Angeles Rams. Right now, I'm booking that, and I think the Rams are probably going to win on that. What about you, Shane?
You know what, bro? I really like that. That was out of nowhere, and I'm I'm actually impressed with that, bro. You know what kind of stinks about doing Madden like competitively in pros? Like I haven't been able to watch a lot of games like I used to because like I'm trying to do all the games. Here's what I'm gonna do, bro. I'm gonna go outside the box too, and I'm gonna go the Seattle Seahawks versus New England Patriots for the Super Bowl.
And then, and then what? And do you think when it gets to a fourth and one with the game on the line, and you have K9 in the backfield, that you think Sam Darnold's gonna throw a pick to Marte Mapu?
No, I think they're gonna run a triple option, bro. Rose said they're the number one seed, so yeah, I hope they make playoffs. Hey, you never know. You never know. You never, ever, ever know. But I don't want to be the reason Trey is at my door saying, "Hey, man, you said they were making the playoffs and they didn't." So, I was just saying I believe they will. I think they will. I didn't want to curse the Patriots.
Yeah, no question. I hope that it is the Seahawks and Patriots. I definitely gonna we got to do something. If that ever goes down, I'll have to come up to your crib and watch it, or you could come over. You could come over to Lewiston and see what's going on with that. We'll think of something.
Hell
That'll
yeah.
definitely be fun.
Hell yeah.
But with all that being said, Shane, it is the segment. This is the Would You Rather segment. I don't know if you have a Would You Rather question because we've been on a little bit of a hiatus. But for my Would You Rather question. Would you rather have the ability to talk and understand every animal, or would you rather have the power to understand another language, any language, instantaneously?
Do I get to speak that language too?
Yes. Yeah.
I would do. I would like as much as it'd be amazing to like know like this animal's like I'm gonna eat that human right there. I would go with being able to speak every human language possible because think about how much money you could make, Trey. Think about that. What would you want to do on that?
Yeah, I would probably understand all languages too. I think for the same reason you do. I mean, if you understand all animals, I think there's definitely a profit to be made on that. Like you can be the cat whisperer or like the tiger whisperer. But yeah, I would probably go with I would probably agree with you on that. I'd probably want to learn every language, every.
Okay, here I got one for you. You ready for this, Trey? Would you rather be able to teleport anywhere or be able to read anybody's mind?
That's without question. I'd teleport anywhere. Right now, I would teleport to Las Vegas and get some chicken wings or something. Or I wouldn't teleport to Vegas. I'd just teleport anywhere where there's a wing stop. So I'd probably go to Spokane and then get some wing stop over there. You could teleport anywhere. So you could literally teleport to the Area 51 or something right now if you wanted to.
For me, Trey, I would teleport anywhere too because I think that'd be awesome. Like my goal in life when I'm old, like I mean like old, like 70, 65, is to travel across the United States and just go eat at every place, small restaurant, mom and pop spot, or any popular food place. So yeah, that teleport would work great, bro. Like, oh, I want some, barbecue. I'm going to Texas on this famous spot. I want this, I want that, I go there, right? So I'm with you on that. I'm glad that we're both thinking about like food when we thought about teleporting. Uh, but no, because I wouldn't want to read anyone's mind, Trey. Because can you imagine if they're like just being awful about you? Because then I'd want to headbutt them in the face, and then I go to jail because I can read people's minds. Or like then you go to jail and that person's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna give it to him tonight," and I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's way bigger than me. That'd be awful, bro. So I'd rather teleport, Trey, and be able to eat hot wings and chicken wings, like you said, bro.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to read anybody's mind. That's not really something that interests me, and I don't really think I would even have like a reaction. Like even if like someone is thinking something about me, it's like, whatever. I mean, you think about all the kind of thoughts that someone has in a given day. Like, you wake up and you think this way, and then, 2 hours later you think something different, and it's all over the place. I mean, it'd be kind of hard to gauge, too. Like, say someone thinks, oh, I don't like Shane, he smells funny. Like, are you really going to, like, punch him in the face because, you kind of sense that he said that? Like, you don't even know, like, how would you be able to gauge, like, the severity of, like, his hatred towards you? You know what I mean?
I mean, I probably would get used to it, to be fair, but what if he said some wild stuff like, the intrusive thoughts people have, right? And you just are like, what the hell? I don't think I'd want to read minds anyways, because like I don't think I want to hear what everybody has to say in their brain, and I think teleporting actually just overall would be a lot better. Like it'd be pretty awesome, you know what I mean? So I think I'd
Yeah,
still
do
would
you do
choose
you ever have those
teleporting.
do you ever have those moments where, like, you might just, like, be watching TV, you might just be, like, doing whatever, like cleaning or whatever. Do you ever have those moments where you just, like, kind of, like, just space out and go completely blank, and then all of a sudden, like, you just have no inner dialogue for some reason, and then you kind of, like, start to freak out, and it's like I hear of people that do, like, certain drugs and then they don't have any, like, inner dialogue. I feel like that would freak me out. Like, if I don't have any inner dialogue, how the hell do I even know that I'm alive? You know what I mean?
Bro, you can trip yourself out doing that, right? But I didn't know some people didn't have inner dialogue at all. And yeah, that is weird to me because my brain is always, honestly, bro, I don't really ever gap out unless like I'm like so exhausted, but like my brain is still kind of thinking. Like my brain kind of doesn't shut the hell up, bro. If you want to know the truth, like yeah, somewhat it's somewhat calm like when I'm watching something, but like even when I'm watching something like like a sports game, I'm thinking like, what would I do? What would I call here? Like, who would I have thrown to? Or if I'm watching like, even if I'm watching like, I show speed, right? Like with my oldest, which is really cool what he's doing. Like, I think it's awesome. I show speed, become a pro. I'm like my brain see like, oh damn, he's this, he's that. So yeah, it is a little trippy to know that some people don't have inner dialogue, Trey.
Yeah, no doubt. Don't ever take your brain for granted. And I guess, like, the underlying subtext of what I'm saying with that is, don't take any substances, like, not only because of the obvious, crippling effects it's going to have on you and everyone else around you, but if for nothing else, like, you're destroying your brain, and your brain is, like, the most advanced, like, supercomputer, like, you can ever think of. I mean, if you really tap into what your brain's capacity can do, like, you can think of a fart right now, and you can hear it even though you don't actually hear a fart. Like, it's just crazy to me. But with all that being said, Shane, this was a good podcast. I think we got back on our feet really well given the hiatus. I mean, like I said, it's just nature taking its course when we decide to do a podcast. It doesn't matter if it's weeks, months, years, or whatever, it's still gonna be kind of natural because we got that chemistry together. But yeah, we're gonna try to get you another one of these next Friday at 10:30 p.m. Otherwise, if it's Shane will let you know. And I'm sure Shane's gonna be doing some streaming. I don't know if he's gonna be streaming the Gauntlet this weekend, but if he does, definitely tune into that if you're willing, if you want to. And we hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend. And I'll throw it back over to Shane to close us out for this edition of the West Coast Podcast.
Yeah, man. We handle stuff, bro. We handle stuff on the podcast with ease. Like, yeah, we roll together. No, man. Yeah, we'll be back next Friday at 10:30 p.m. November 21st. I was just thinking about like how you're talking about like how your brain is like an advanced computer, and it's just like really true. Like they say to stop like onset dementia, Alzheimer's from forming is you always want to have your brain learn new things because it fires neurons and all that stuff. Because what a lot of people do is as they get older, they get out of high school, they get out of college, or if you don't go to college, but you get out of high school, you just kind of like get your job, like whatever it be, like a bank accountant, post office, security guard, and you do the same thing over and over where your brain learns it. It kind of goes into like I don't know, standby mode if you want to know the truth, and it doesn't fire new neurons and all that stuff. I'm trying to break it down like easier where I can say it myself. And but that's why they tell you to like do crossword puzzles, right, Trey, or Sudoku, or take up a new subject that you didn't know about, or study a new subject that you didn't know about, or do a new hobby, um, or do a hobby that changes a lot because it'll keep your brain young and fresh, right? It'll get the neurons firing. So even if you're 70 years old, your brain's working still really well instead of just like kind of like not being used or anything. And like, yeah, like honestly, I had buddies do like ecstasy or whatever, and I always said no to them. And like, it puts lesions on your brain and all that stuff, bro. And like another thing, what people don't understand is like drinking a lot of water is also good for your brain, Trey. It's like a wet sponge. It's healthy for your brain. So make sure you guys hydrate and all that stuff. But anyways, this was the West Coast Podcast. I'm Shane, and with me was always this Trey, my guy. We will see you guys in 1 week. I am not sure on the gauntlet. I might just take this weekend off because I've been playing almost every weekend for a while, and I might just take a break and just get back to streaming on Monday. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see what goes on tomorrow. But anyways, you guys, this was the November 14th, 2025 West Coast Podcast. We will see you next Friday.